Before you come at me, let me tell you, I've made many cakes in my life. In fact, I've also gotten canceled for making many ugly cakes in my life. And after making hundreds of cakes and pastries and desserts, I still have to say that carrot cake is my favorite cake in the world. If you want to disagree with me, I sort of respect your opinion, but first you will have to try my recipe and then I might accept what you have to say. This carrot cake actually has 3 components to it. The carrot cake, which is basically just a really moist spice cake. A pineapple compote, which I've now seen in a lot of luxury and gourmet carrot cakes because it helps to balance and add a little bit of zing and zest to offset the really rich cream cheese frosting. We're going to make a brown butter cream cheese frosting. It makes the cream cheese flavor so much better and so much stronger. So you just have to make this cake and you'll have to believe me that it's really good. We're gonna make cake now. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna prepare our carrots. Boom! You can either use the large side if you like chunks of carrot, or you can use the thinner side, and that way the texture won't be as apparent. I've gone for chunky, but you can really do whatever your heart desires. This is probably the most labor-intensive part of the entire recipe, but it's worth it because after this arm workout, you can eat more carrot cake. I'm tired. You did it. Now that you've grated all your carrot and you also have baby carrots to snack on, we're gonna dump all of our carrots to a bowl and we're gonna mix it with the buttermilk. Oh, the buttermilk is gonna help tenderize the carrot fibers so they will be nice and soft when you bite into your carrot cake. And we're gonna set that to the side and work on our other inclusion, the pecans. We're just gonna take our pecans and we're going to lightly toast them in a toaster oven. Okay. I personally think that large chunks of pecan make the cake too dense, so I just go to town with this. And now we have our pecan meal mix. Now we're finally gonna mix the cake together. I normally don't keep brown sugar on hand because my kitchen is very, very small. So instead what I do is I just add in a little bit of molasses. That's what brown sugar is anyways. I just do that myself. The molasses is too sticky, so measure with your heart. Can I do this? Yeah, that worked. You know that the egg mixture is whipped properly when it's nice and fluffy looking like this. Most of the sugar crystals will also have dissolved at this point. Now we're gonna add in the oil. Today I'm using walnut oil because this is what I have on hand. You can also just use regular vegetable oil. I didn't measure this. We're just gonna do it. Yes. You're gonna wanna stream this in instead of dumping it in all at once because then it won't combine well. Also add in your vanilla. If you forget this one, that's okay. It should now look almost exactly the same, but just slightly less fluffy. Final stretch. We're gonna make our dry mix now. We have our flour and we have all of our secret powders. No, I'm just kidding. I just found them all in my cupboard. And we're just gonna dump them all together. I sometimes just use pumpkin pie spice. Don't go out and spend $8 per spice because I've done that and it hurts my wallet every single time. We're gonna start by adding in half. No, yes, half, I think. We're gonna start by adding in half. You want it to be just combined, maybe even slightly under combined because you can continue to mix it as you add in all your other ingredients. Now we're gonna dump in our carrots and our buttermilk. It honestly doesn't look very appetizing right now. Add in the remainder of our rye mixture and mix one final time. As you can see, I didn't mix the batter all the way through. There's still some clumps of flour. I like to mix it by hand at the end anyways because a stand mixer won't be able to like mix everything on the sides. Okay, this is like the pastry school folding and mixing technique that was like ingrained into my brain. Basically what you do is you start folding from the middle of the bowl and then you want to rotate it as you're rotating your hand. And while you're doing this, we're gonna add in all of our pecans. Yummy. It smells so good. I personally think that this cake should be made with 3 layers of cake. So you may be wondering how I've gone through my entire life with only 2 pans, even though I clearly make a lot of cakes with 3 or more layers. I really don't know how to answer that question. That is an oversight on my part. I really should invest in another pan considering this is my job. We're just gonna eyeball it and evenly place 1/3 of the batter into each of these pans. So we're gonna put these in the oven now at 350 degrees for this amount of time right here. And then now we will make all of the fillings and frostings to accompany this cake. Okay, how long do we need to make these for? Make sure your cakes come out cleanly. Run a knife along the outside and then they'll come out completely clean. don't do that. So now I'm just gonna put in the final cake layer and we're gonna let these sit out and cool. And now we're gonna make the pineapple compote. Conveniently, all of the pineapple in this bag is exactly the amount you need to make this pineapple compote filling. I don't think it is worth your time to cut and break down a whole fresh pineapple just for you to then blend it up. And we're just gonna puree it until it's really smooth. And we're just gonna keep this on the stove, cook it down to your desired texture. You don't need to use a vanilla pod, but because I'm baking this for you all, I thought we should be extra special and extra fancy. You don't wanna cook it on too high of a heat. You don't want any of the sugar to caramelize, but you do wanna evaporate a lot of water. So I just like to leave a lid on like that and hopefully it kind of like, there's a little bit of water left, but honestly, that's okay. The end result will have a applesauce-like texture, so consider this pineapple sauce. We're gonna set this aside and let it cool, and this is our compote done. Brown butter is one of those things that's really easy to make, but just like really elevates a dessert. I'm very impatient, so we're gonna crank this up really high. This is the most aggressive boil I think I've ever gotten on butter before. Can you hear that? That's all the water evaporating out of the butter. All the white stuff that's forming, these are all the milk solids. Now that you can see that it's super foamy, this is the point now where I would start to constantly stir. Also lower the heat. You don't want these to stick to the bottom of the pot and burn. Once your butter is nice and browned, we're gonna pour it into a bowl to cool completely. It's not quite the texture of softened butter, but as long as it is not liquid, it'll be perfect to whip up. And now we're just gonna add in our 2 blocks of cream cheese. 1, 2. So we're not gonna sift the powdered sugar. It gets everywhere, it's messy, it's an extra step, and like 2 extra dishes, and I don't wanna do it. When you're making American style buttercreams or cream cheese frostings, I honestly just eyeball it and add enough powdered sugar until I think it's sweet enough. But today I measured it out for you. Maybe just a little more. More. Okay, maybe you should follow the recipe. The recipe has an appropriate amount of powdered sugar in it. It's done! Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna frost the cakes. So, I'm just gonna assemble the cake on this cake table because like I'm not going anywhere, so I'm just gonna use like a little bit of frosting so it doesn't slide that much. I cut off the top for this cake, mainly because I'm hungry, but you don't really need to do that. We will pray to the cake gods that I remember how to frost. I like a lot of pineapple compote, honestly, but technically for balance and for the whole like bite of the carrot cake, you don't actually want to use that much. I mean, come on, I think it's coming together pretty well. I don't have enough fridge space right now, so we're gonna try and pipe the frosting on the outside of the cake so that way I can avoid doing a crumb coat. I will say though, the best part about using cream cheese frosting for this though, is that there are already little specks and chunks in your buttercream, so honestly, it's not gonna look that bad if you have little specks of cake in there. We should move it to a different cake stand for photos. Let's see if I can do that. I'm pretty impressed with myself for that. Clean up the bottom a little bit. I think it's done. Look at her. And I think it only took 4 hours, which I think is pretty impressive considering some of these creations I made. So there you have it. This is how you make a pecan spiced carrot cake with pineapple compote and brown butter cream cheese frosting. This is not only one of my most viral videos, for me it's oddly nostalgic. I made this before I went to college. I made this for myself when I graduated. I'm making it for myself right now. Maybe this is what self-love is. It's just eating carrot cake. Now that you've watched me make it, I hope you have the skills to make it yourself. Let me know how it goes for you in the comments. I'm gonna eat the rest of this cake. Don't look at my sink. Don't look at my sink. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. We'll work on it after this video is out.